You're listening to DUSARadio's online election coverage at DUSAmedia.com.
You're listening to DUSARadio. I'm Ollie Fletcher, and I'm going to be interviewing the candidates for the Vice President of Engagement today for the DUSA elections 2013. I'm just going to define the role for you. The Vice President of Engagement is a non-sabbatical role. The post holder will coordinate and support the Deputy President in promoting cultural and social integration within the student community. They will also focus on improving and increasing involvement from members of the student community who are currently underrepresented. The responsibilities for this role are implementing cultural and social integration within the student community, promoting the DUSA Executive and SRC to international, mature and postgraduate students, implementing SRC campaigns in conjunction with the VPCC and SRC chairperson, and finally assisting the VPSA in improving and increasing student involvement in extracurricular activities. I'm just going to ask you to sort of briefly introduce yourself first. So Stefan, who are you? Where do you come from?
Hello, my name is Stefan Tomov. I come from Bulgaria, and I am currently a member of the SRC as a counselor without portfolio. I'm also a member of the Diplomats at Dundee Society, and also I am one of the college ambassadors of the Enterprise Gym. My most interesting hobby this year is being captain of the District League volleyball team called the X-Men, and it's quite fun to organize games and play with them. And also, I'm a member of the Swing Society, although I must admit I'm not very well with my hand-to-feet coordination. My 3 policies are the following. First one, I would like to establish a long-term framework on bringing exam timetables as early as possible. This is something that I've been working throughout the whole year, and I've achieved to pass 2 motions in the SRC, which state that one of them for the DUSA exec to get involved in lobbying for the exam tables to be announced early, and the second one which promotes the role of the school presidents in becoming more active and stating to the teachers of their respective schools if they have any particular ideas on when they should have the exam dates, to tell it as early as possible to the person who is responsible of making the exam dates. This is Dr. David Russell. However, I would like to establish a long-term framework, and I would like to know that when I graduate and I leave Dundee, this is going to be followed step by step. My second policy is to make DUSA a place which is not only for a night out. At the current moment, many people associate the union only with the 2 bars and the 2 clubs. However, I want to make sure that people know of the other things that are happening. For example, the media outlets here, like all the other events happening around. And I would like to help out by making other events that are more suitable for students who do not drink. I would like to bring them over here in the union to make sure they feel this place interesting to them and appealing. And my last idea is to promote student-led initiatives around the campus. I personally participated last year in the Discover to Inspire conference, and I must say we didn't get as much publicity as it was needed for the conference to be successful. I was really surprised that many people didn't hear about this, and I was kind of disappointed about that. I would like to make sure also another student-led initiative, which is very, very active, does the SRC, to be known what we do and what we have achieved throughout the year. And another initiative that really impressed me was by the 4th-year psychology students when they organized a fair for themselves to gain people to sign their petition. To participate in their dissertation topics. And I would like to continue all the good things that Andrew has been doing on bringing students and possibly beat on his numbers from the AGM. Thank you. I'm leaving to Kayleigh now.
Thank you, Kayleigh. So, who are you? Where do you come from? And what's your statement?
Hi, my name is Kayleigh Watson, and I'm originally from Norfolk in England. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, but I'm a first-year student studying forensic anthropology in the life sciences, and also currently the first-year learning and teaching rep on the SRC also. The idea for me to go for the exec year was as recommendation of some of my friends and other members of the SRC, as I think they recognised in me my qualities of being sort of very determined, very much a go-getter, friendly and engaging, as cheesy as that sounds. Like I always make an attempt to get everyone involved with whatever I'm doing. And it's something that I'm really happy to try to take on, something I'm really passionate about doing for next year, which is why my policies really reflect who I am, as well as an extension of who I think DUSA can be next year, not just for what I want, but for what students want. And I think that's really important to have someone on the SRC that this year for me to be that communication, and hopefully if someone like that is going to be on the DUSA exec next year as well. My policies are, as first of all, a friendly face. It sounds quite basic, but just to be someone that people recognise and know, and that they know that DUSA is here for them, that they can come to DUSA with any of their problems, whether it be money or health or just wanting to get involved with other things going on, that they feel that DUSA can be that place they can come to and speak to. And I think that's really best achieved by getting out there and communicating with students and really being an active member of DUSA rather than reactive. My second policy is about engaging and reacting to what students are looking for by listening to student feedback, bringing them tools so they can actively feed back to DUSA what they want, what they're looking for, whether that be more nights out, whether that be less alcohol orientated activities. What do students want, and really making a point to implement what they're looking for. And my third policy, again, quite quite simple on the face of it, it's about supporting each other. We are also students here working on the DUSA exec, or for the sabbatical positions, ex-students. We understand what it's like to be here, and we understand the challenges that are faced in the union. I want to be the kind of exec member that encourages people to help each other, to say these are the services that are available, and to make sure that they're actively promoted so that all they see from here isn't just the nights out, that they see, the counselling facilities that we offer, the financial advice, even getting involved in societies that interest them. If you don't turn up to the Freshers Week, there isn't many other opportunities to find out what we offer. So it's something I'd like to work on for next year. And again, it's just to reiterate the kind of position I think VPE is and is important to be, is someone for the students, that is an active member in and what the students are looking for, and communicate that to the rest of the executive team and facilitate that communication between all the different roles.
Thank you. Something that you both said was that the union tends to be focused around nights out and alcohol. Do you think that it's a silent majority who would want these other faculties of the union, or do you think this is something which would appeal to a minority?
Probably it is a minority of people who don't drink here. It's after all a university. However, this is still people who are underrepresented, and they deserve to get what they want, and that is something, an event that gives them a chance to socialize with others without being shamed that they are not going to drink alcohol and cannot socialize with the others properly.
Kayleigh?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the majority of students at university are looking for the full university experience, first time away from home, and are looking for the nights out and the fun times. But we have to remember there are mature students, other students of other faiths that may not be interested in these alcohol-fueled nights out. And I think it's important to promote these kind of students at societies we have, events that we have going on through societies and through DUSA, as well as just promoting the nights out, and make sure these people are aware these facilities are in place.
How would you guys both go about promoting these things? I mean, massive problem is there's 17,000, 18,000 students. There are only about 100 that went to the AGM for DUSA. So there's obviously a massive lack of engagement in the process behind these things.
Well, for me, my my main goal is, I say, to be an active presence. I want to go out there. I want to try and identify the kind of students that aren't engaging with us and make a point to go to them and to find where they are, whether it going to lectures, whether it be communicating with them. You know, I'm hoping to set up a newsletter for the SRC, so that the students we wouldn't normally reach through AGMs or nights out, that those students are also being involved, and encourage their feedback, and hopefully offer some kind of incentive to get those feedback from those students, so that we can give them what they want.
Well, there are many ways which we can advertise such events, through the media outlets, through social networking, which things are being used right now. Also, as a member of the college, from the enterprise gym, the current moment I'm doing class shouts almost every weekend. I'm not afraid actually to do class shouts in order to promote these things, and I'm ready to enter whatever lecture is needed to say, guys, this is happening this weekend. The union will be really glad if you guys come.
It's very good that you're both obviously outgoing enough and confident enough to be able to stand in front of an audience in a lecture theatre and say, this is what's going on. But the people that you're trying to target are, by definition, rather reserved. Do you think that you've got what sort of mechanism do you think would be best to bring these kind of reserved people into the union?
Well, some work I've been doing at the moment with the SRC has been trying to look for placements of information in public places such as the library and learning centre. I'm hoping to get a notice board up there so that they are aware of the kind of things that are going on the student council and exec, but also to have a suggestions box there. I understand that though we're quite outgoing people, that not everyone, like you say, is, and they may be intimidated by having to directly communicate with us. And so it's trying to facilitate other ways of communication, like suggestion boxes, like making sure that people are aware that our Facebook page is there, that they can private message us, and hopefully I would like to be the kind of person where people feel comfortable enough with me that they can come to me and speak to me, and feel that they can message me with any concerns and worries they have, and I will be their voice for what they need. But for me, it's mostly just promotion about what we have available and giving them a way to get back to us.
Well, I would try to vary the activities that are happening in the union, also the services and facilities. The current moment, next to Laya Bar, there is one space that is just being used for storage, and I believe this place can be used for something else, to have more tables so that people can sit there and actually transform the spirit that's happening in the library cafe into this place over there. Also, I'm quite amazed that there are lots of pool tables and there's not a single football table. And I would like to bring some of those here and maybe organize a football championship like the ones organized every single week for the pool table championship.
Very good. Right, I'm going to go on to your main policies and sort of address some of the issues that are within them. Stefan, first. With your first main policy, you want to establish a long-term framework on bringing the announcement of exam timetables as early as possible. The exam timetables went up on the 18th of February this year. Was that early enough, or would you like it even earlier?
Because I'm very well aware of now the process of making the timetables, I know that it could be done 1 week earlier. And both for semester 1 and semester 2, the target we should aim is week 5. This year it was announced in week 6, while for the other session about the December diet, it was announced in week 9, which was 1 week later than the year before. And the process that I've established follows 2 steps that need to be done. One of them engaging the school presidents and the DUSA exec to make sure that the process has been followed, and we can for sure aim at week 5 when the exam tables can be announced.
Who will it help with the week 5 release of timetables? I mean, personally, I fly home. The earlier I book my flights, the cheaper the flights are. So surely for people who have those sorts of journeys home, would that be early enough?
Well, thank you for answering my question. This is one of the people who most benefit from the early announcement of the timetables. Another set of people who do that is people who want to get a job either for the Christmas break or for the summer vacation. If they know as early as possible when are they going to finish with exams, they can get their job as early as possible. Also, people who want to go for a vacation to relax after the intense semester, this will help them a lot. And basically, yeah, the initial was for people who would like to book flights as early as possible.
So is week 5 the absolute earliest that you've had through discussions, or could it be brought back even sooner?
Well, the process cannot happen before week 2 because lots of schools allow for their students to change modules in the first 2 weeks. So the schools don't know what is the exact number of people who are attending that modules who have to take the test in the end. After that, it takes 1 week for the schools to get back to Dr. David Russell, who constructs the timetable, and they have to confirm what are the exact numbers of people in that module. And then it takes me about for a week for him to deal with the program and make sure that there are no clashes between the exams. So make sure that every student has at least 1 day between their exams, at least they don't have exams during the same day, let's call it like this. And this takes him about a week. So the earliest maybe what we can achieve then in week 5 is the Friday of week 4. But still, I believe week 5 on Monday, week 5, it's a very good time.
I'm glad you're so well drilled in your policy there. Kayleigh, your first policy is a friendly face.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
It means that people have acknowledged over the last few years that DUSA, though, have been very efficient and have done very well and brought the union to a standard that we can now consider ourselves the best in Scotland and the third best in the UK, that the students themselves still are not quite sure what goes on. They're not sure what the exec do for them, though I know as an SRC member they work incredibly hard on all different fronts, on a national level, sometimes even on international stages, but that information isn't fed back, and the students don't feel that they have the connection with their executive team that I think is absolutely necessary. You know, I would like to be the exec member that they most recognise, that they see in the street and go, how are things going? What have we been doing? And they know from my promises that I will follow through and communicate back with them what is going on in DUSA's building. And that's kind of what that policy is about, is being the person that the students need me to be and being open and accessible to everyone and not just someone who sits at a desk.
A lot of the problem with that is that right now, the only member of the executive that most people would recognise is probably Ian Kennedy. I mean, there's lots of people that personally I know just from being involved through DUSA Media and things, but I think broadly that is the only sort of person. Is it a problem that you personally can address, or is it something which is actually more of an institutional failure? Is it, for instance, down to the complex nature of the every sort of web that leads to the union? I mean, if you go onto Blackboard, there's a map, and it explains all of the about a dozen almost different parts that all feed into the union. Is that too many? Is that working against your aim?
I wouldn't say it's working against in any way. The opportunity we have every year with the new executive team coming in is the opportunity for change and for adaptation and to use what we have to benefit us for the next year. There are challenges, there are a few stepping stones we need to get around, such as a lot of the executive members, especially the sabbatical positions, are very busy in their workload, such as the Deputy President has a lot of ongoing work, the Honorary Secretary does a lot of ongoing work. You know, those are roles that require day-to-day attention, and not forgetting a lot of the exec team are still students as well. But I think the Vice President of Engagement especially is the key facilitator to what is needed for next year. That role for me is very much about facilitating that communication to enable the exec to have the time and the energy to go to the students and have the best outlets for communicating with students. And that's the kind of exec I want to be, so that I can help those people be more involved with students. Okay,
some more general questions. Yeah. How would you build on your predecessors?
Well, Andrew, as he said before, he's the first in this kind of role. And we're quite lucky over him and the fact that he had no predecessor to build on, and he's really taken this role and made it his own and worked really very hard. I know some of the campaigns he's been doing this year, such as Healthy Body, Healthy Mind, I think were really important for student population. It's something we should definitely carry forward. But again, just adding to that and making it a more accessible union, addressing some of the things he's not yet gone to, such as mature students and international students. Though I'm not an international student at Dundee University, as I'm English, I have studied abroad in the United States, and I understand some of the challenges faced when you're in a completely different culture. And they're using that and my own mature student status, I want to kind of recognise some of those things and build on his existing campaigns and incorporate those people as well.
How would you build on Andrew Jardin's work, Stefan?
Well, I would personally build on his connection with the DUSARadio and make sure that there are regular updates about the SRC and the exec's work in all the three outlets. Also on the Healthy Mind, Healthy Body campaign that Kayleigh mentioned, I would like to continue on that and especially build on the momentum that the United Kingdom has at the current moment after the Olympic Games and the spirit of playing sports. I notice people even so early in March in this cold weather running around, which is really admirable. And I would like to encourage more and more students taking part in sports. And also one thing that I would personally try to work with Andrew to help for the next year is to do the university challenge and make sure that the next year the student team is going to beat the teachers.
Very good. Continuing with you, Stefan, another one of my main questions, which I've got written down here, is one of the main problems that this outgoing executive have is that they've run out of time. They came in, they had all these wonderful ideas, but they simply could not implement them all. Out of your three main policies, which one is the most important to you?
I can't say which one is most important to me. Honestly, they're all important, every single one of them, and every single one of them will be attacked at different point of time. For example, with the exam dates, I would even start from next week to make sure that the job will be done properly, and I'll push forward in the beginning of September to make sure that the exam timetables for the December diet will be announced in the beginning of October, which is the realistic time. For DUSA and the night outs, with turning into a place that is not only for a night out, I would have to work throughout the whole year with monthly events, which I'm already used to with the Enterprise Gym, as we have weekly events, bi-weekly events, and I know what's the pressure of holding more events at the time and handling the situation. And for student-led projects, well, they're happening throughout the year as well. So anyone who has something, has such a project and would like their project to be heard throughout the campus can come to me, and I'll make sure they will be heard.
So would you at least concede that establishing a long-term framework for bringing out earlier exam timetables is the most easily measured as an achievement?
Probably yes, that's definitely, because you can be measured through time. The others can be measured only by numbers, not through quality. That's the problem with them. And the only thing for it, which is really distinguishing, is that I know exactly when it has to be done, while for the others have to be done throughout the whole year.
And the same to you, Kayleigh. Which of your three policies is the most important to you?
Well, I think all three policies are essentially all part of the same thing. My advertisement of things such as the SRC and exec is something that's already been ongoing for me for the last month or so, and it's something I'm going to continue to do throughout the end of this year, and it's something I'm hoping that would be in place for the next executive team. My policies are very much about getting students involved and being involved with students and working for them, and I don't think as much as Stefan's are that it's something that can be measured with a simple scale or graph. It's very much about gauging what students student response. You know, I'd like to think at this time next year DUSA TV can go around again and again ask them, you know, do you know who your executive team are? And it's something that I would like to see, that a greater amount of people will say, yes, I know who they are, this is the person, this is what they've done for me, that for me would really mean that I've done my role the best that I could do. And as Stefan said, I don't think that I can pick one out of my 3 policies. If anything, I would say that we will have many more ongoing policies throughout a year, not just the 3 that was specified for our campaign.
One of the things which you seem to focus on quite a lot is being known.
Yeah.
How will that help other people that you are known?
Because if somebody is in trouble, if somebody is concerned, if somebody wants advice, if any point in their university career they think, I need somebody to help me, then they will know who is there to help them. They will know that there's an outlet for that. They will say, I remember this girl, she spoke to me and she said she could help me with this. I wonder if she could help me with this thing as well. Just knowing that DUSA, being the face of DUSA, and for the students knowing that DUSA are there for them, whether it be something small or something large. And I've had many people come to me, and when I was discussing running for the exec, and I asked them, what is it you want? And they said, they just want someone to talk to. There are many times they've just sat silent and dealt with problems because they felt that the university or DUSA wouldn't be interested in their minor quibble with their flatmate, or, they haven't got enough money to pay their rent this month. They just thought that they wouldn't be interested. And that's something I want to change, that people will know me and know the kind of person I am and know the kind of exec that we will have, and say, actually, they're here for me. They will help me no matter what problem I have.
One of the main things that's facing universities and education in general today in the UK are cuts. We're constantly told this is a time of austerity. How can you attempt to fight them?
I'm studying politics, and in the politics department there have been lots of cuts in the past 2 years, and I've been really unhappy about it. I've been active throughout my class rep, explaining her that this should not be the case. We should seek for more teachers to be found and replace the ones that have left, and make sure that we have a proper replacement. I would personally, that's the best way it has been affected me. So I would personally tackle the issue by complaining to university, and this year I've already complained to 2 people in the university. I know what is the process of going to them, making an appointment and explaining what is the issue. So I will make sure that the voice of students will be heard, and explaining that cuts are something that we're not happy with, and it should not continue to cut down the funds of the university, but to keep the same quality, and the quality to deteriorate in the end.
Yeah, as a first-year student, I don't necessarily have direct experience of cuts yet. I'm also quite lucky. I'm in the life science field, and that's something that's very heavily endorsed at the university. However, I am an English student. I am paying £9,000 worth of fees every year, as well as my own tuition, that I can definitely understand the need to combat cuts to services when I'm paying such a high amount in tuition as a student myself. And I can definitely see that other students, such as international or even home students, that their family are helping support them come to university. It's incredibly important to make sure they maintain a standard of education. Unfortunately, though, cuts are necessary, and that's something else I've learned through my professional career. And I think it's very much tackling each situation head on, recognising what the requirements of the university are and the requirements of students, and making sure that it works best as it can for students, and by maintaining some kind of efficiency. So, I understand Stefan said, cuts to teachers. I would look at an individual situation and see, okay, what is it that we need to cut? What money do we need to leave? And then using the exec and using the platform that it would give is go to the schools independently and see if we can discuss what it is, and be just again a voice for students, and say this is what we need as students.
You need to prioritise, as you've alluded to, in these cuts, but it's very hard to put that message across to students. Of course, all of us we want to save our own skins above anybody else's. How are you going to make our case seem better than anybody else's?
Well, for me, it's just reminding the governing bodies, reminding the schools that we are a university and we are here for the education of students, and that though these cuts are necessary, nothing should impede the education of our students. It's why we're all here. I know from my own experience, I gave up a career to come here and learn, and I certainly wouldn't want anything from higher up affecting my ability to learn. But again, like you say, it's about communication. It's about making them aware of what we need. But then also communicating to students and say, look, this is what we said was important. This is what you need. Unfortunately, there are cuts and these are the compromises. What compromises work best for you? And again, just being that facilitator and that communication so it works as it can for everybody.
And Stefan, how would you put across our case to avoid cuts?
I would personally agree with Kayleigh just said. I would like to further on say that the students, after all, are the clients of the university, and the university must respect all the needs of their clients. Otherwise, they're going to risk losing them, and we're going to see a significant drop in the number of students unless tuition fees are being stopped and not anymore increased, especially for international students. Every single year they're increasing by a significant percentage, and if Pete Downs wants his 25-year vision to stay on, then this should stop, definitely. How will they do it? Well, through communicating with the university, and maybe, who knows, a drastic measure like 2 years ago when people were sitting down in the library, both in the library and in the tower foyer, stating that this is not acceptable.
Bit of an open-ended question now, almost as a closing statement. Personally, what would you add to the university? Starting with Stefan, please.
So could you please repeat?
What would you add to the university personally?
What I would add to the university personally? That's an interesting question. There's so many things that I would like to add. Which one to begin? Well, I would like to be known with the exam timetables, that it should be done after I graduate. This policy will continue to be implemented the same way or even a better way, and that exam tables will be announced week 5. And I hope that 2-3 years, or even 5-10 after that, we won't have the same problem as right now.
And Kayleigh?
Yeah, for me, it's more of a personal legacy. Very much about, for me, if I get to the end of my term and everyone knows who I am, has been able to come to me and say, this is what she's helped me with, this is what DUSA have been able to help me with. And the next oncoming exec to look at the kind of person I was and say, that's the kind of person I want to be. To inspire students to be involved actively in their union, as well as participating in all of the facilities that we have here as well.
Thank you to you both. I'm Ollie Fletcher. You've been listening to the interviews of the Vice President of Engagement candidates, Stefan Tomov and Kayleigh Watson. You've been listening to DUSARadio. Please check back for more interviews. We're going to be interviewing all of the candidates across all of the different roles. Thank you and goodbye.